Hello and welcome to our keynote on open banking. My name is Sven, I'm the head of connectivity at SIX Group, and in the next few minutes I'm going to talk about open banking and the opportunities that we see in open banking for banks and fintechs. But before we talk about open banking, we need to look at what APIs are. APIs are the building block of a lot of business models that we today know. If we just take Uber as an example. Uber is an app that combines 3 different APIs, 3 different services into one seamless user experience. First of all, Uber integrates the Google Maps API to show the map in the app. Then Google taps into the GPS location of the phone of the iOS or Android operating system to facilitate the location and the hailing of the app. And then at the end of the ride, Uber taps into the Stripe payment system to facilitate the payment and finalize the ride. So what you can see here is Uber is really integrating 3 different services using APIs, using those standardized interfaces, what APIs really are, and exchanging data and ultimately bundling 3 services into one experience and creating a new business model on top of that. And we believe APIs will also be at the core of driving change and innovation in banking. If we look at the example that we have here, it's an app that integrates 3 different APIs. One, on the top, it's a payment API, so we can send and receive money. On the bottom, we have the accounts view, so it's an account API that has all the accounts and the transactions of those accounts. And in the middle, we have something similar to e-bill, where we have utility payments and different kind of bills that need to be paid. And this is not a mock-up. This is actually an example of an app from the Chinese market. It's Xiaomi, one of the largest phone makers of the world, and they're actually shipping this app as a standard out of the box with their phones. So it really shows how open banking is creating opportunities to deliver innovations and new types of banking through APIs. And this is not something that's only happening in one region of the world. Globally, there's a number of initiatives fostering open banking. There's typically 2 types of initiatives. Regulatory-driven initiatives, very much like in Europe, the PSD2, the regulator is compelling banks to offer open banking APIs to third parties. But there are also market-driven initiatives, like in Switzerland, where with our B-Link solution from SIX, we've started offering open banking APIs last May. While there might be a perception that open banking especially benefits fintech, we believe that it can benefit banks as well as fintechs, especially if they collaborate. If we look at these 3 examples, this will highlight this. In our first example, we look at Uber in Mexico. Uber is allowing their drivers to open an account and a debit card with BBVA, all within the user experience of Uber. And this really helps for them to create a better user experience for their drivers and for BBVA to tap into the 500,000 drivers to generate new customers. In our second example, we look at N26. N26 currently has a narrow offering. They have the app and they have the card. But in order to become a full-blown retail experience, they need to expand their offering, and they're doing this by integrating different service providers. For example, they're integrating savings accounts through the service provider Raisin. And in our last example, we look at Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank really is at the forefront of open banking, and what they've done is they've started to offer APIs beyond what they have to offer according to PSD2. And what they have done here, for example, is they offer an ID check, which allows a third-party provider to check if a customer is above 18 or above 21. And every time that ID check is being used, Deutsche Bank is monetizing that part. But this also means a challenge for banks, because we actually see a shift in consumer behavior towards ecosystems. And this is what this consultancy slide is trying to show. Basically, it means that consumers are increasingly going to purchase within ecosystems. So if we take travel, for example, a consumer will, within Airbnb, book their trip and also purchase their credit card for that trip, all within Airbnb. They will not go to the branch or to the e-banking any longer and purchase single products there. And if we believe that that's the way things are going, then there's 2 key questions for banks. One, what are the areas where banks can actually build up their own ecosystems? For example, UBS has announced with Key4, they're building their own ecosystems in the housing area. And 2, where are the areas where banks have to integrate themselves into existing ecosystems in order to sell their products there? In any scenario, if a bank is trying to build up its own ecosystem, or if they're integrating into an existing ecosystem, they need to be able to connect to third parties. And there's basically 2 ways of doing that. One, you could connect one by one to each of the third parties, or you could connect to a platform or a hub, very much like our B-Link open banking platform, where a number of participants are already connected. And this is what we're trying to achieve with B-Link. We are trying to standardize as much as possible the required elements for collaboration between a fintech and a bank. So we're providing API standards. Through SIX, we're providing the required infrastructure. Complex things like due diligence and contracts, we have created standardized solutions for that. And what we're doing is we're providing a single point of contact for partner management. So TPPs and banks only have to talk to SIX. And whoever is offering APIs on our platform, there's the option of monetizing that, and we will take care of the invoicing. And ultimately, we're trying to achieve network effects, which means that every participant who comes onto the platform brings in more value to the existing participants on the platform. One example for this is our current offering in the SME space. We enable SME customers using online accounting tools like Clara to connect and synchronize through B-Link with their banking account. And the benefit from that is that Clara can automate a lot of the tasks that currently the SMEs and the freelancers are doing themselves, and the SME can actually focus on their core work. But this is only one example of the current offerings. We're working on a number of ideas to expand the APIs on B-Link and also to bring B-Link to different customer segments. For example, we're looking at mortgage APIs to increase the efficiency in the process of brokering mortgages. We are looking to improve with Wealth API the way how external asset managers are connecting to custody accounts. And also, building on our SME offering, we're trying to bring e-bills via B-Link into the ERP and accounting systems. So we're really open and exploring a different number of ideas, and we're also looking to talk to FinTechs and banks at the Swiss FinTech Fair. So what have we learned in the past minutes? There are opportunities for banks and FinTechs in open banking, but they need to collaborate. Customers are moving into ecosystems, which means banks have to ask themselves, where can they build up their own ecosystems and where do they integrate into existing ecosystems? At the end, it's all about connecting with third parties and collaborating with third parties. With B-Link from SIX, we're trying to reduce the complexity of those collaborations as much as possible. We build it as an open platform and we're expanding it with new APIs, bringing it to new customer segments. Feel free to reach out to us under our website or through the contacts, and please join our webinar later today.